and welcome back to Photography Friday. If it's your first time here, I'm Jane Corley with PicVision's Media Arts and Photography. Make sure to like this video if you learned something new, subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell so you can be notified every time a new video is uploaded every week. In today's episode, we're going to talk about composition. I'm really excited about today's episode because this is really where the fun starts with making yourself more conscious of the things that you are taking photos of and ways to step up your photography game. So let's get started talking about composition and framing. The purpose of composition is to draw your viewer's eye into and across the frame of an image. Framing refers to using elements within the frame of your image in order to create a frame within a frame. Adding a focal point within your framing also shows your viewers exactly where to look. Now, I know a lot of you have probably already heard of the master rule of thirds. We're going to get into that today and tell you really just what that's all about. If you think about the rule of thirds as dividing your image with two vertical lines and two horizontal lines, creating almost a tic-tac-toe effect on your image. If you place the heaviest amount of content or your subject matter where these lines intersect, you will create a more interesting image. Furthermore, this will give you a better balance to your photos. Let's take it one step further and place your image in one of the outside thirds. By placing your image and subject matter in the outside third, you are going to give your image more flow, more balance, and a little extra movement to add intrigue. Let's take a look at this promotional photo that we took up in North Carolina. In this image, you're going to see a photo of a lowball glass with a cigar propped on top. Notice that it is in the right-handmost third of the photo, with the details of the mountain range located in the back. Using leading lines as seen in the porch railing, as well as the detail in the mountain range behind the lowball glass, these leading lines add additional visual direction to the other two thirds and will add weight and balance to the remaining space of your image. Leading lines can provide a direction for your viewer's eye to follow, creating more interest or intrigue in the subject matter of your image. This is really great in event photography when you're trying to show movement of a subject through the event space location. Next, let's talk about viewpoint. Viewpoint is probably one of my very favorite elements of composition because there's just a limitless opportunity of what you can do based on viewpoint. In one of my previous videos, we talked about using perspective. This is going to follow along the same lines. Using viewpoint in your image can really separate you from any other average photographer. Let's take a look at this lettered olive shell migrating across the beach at low tide. Using this perspective as well as paired with the rule of thirds, this composition of this photograph, the choices that I made as a photographer to take the photo in the manner that I did, can give a massive impact to the composition of your final product. Using viewpoint to show the message of your subject, as well as changing the angles and not just shooting from the standard eye level, will change the look of your overall images. Get in the habit of using these techniques and you will really see changes happening in your composition techniques. Now, it's very easy when you start to put these elements of composition and perspective using your thirds. It's really easy for your camera to flatten your image. Now, what I mean by flattening the image, remember the lowball glass with the Perdomo cigar sitting on top? That image could quickly become flat if I didn't have the detail of the mountain range, the detail of the tree line, some really great mixing of textures and colors, as well as the leading lines of the porch railing. Find elements in the backdrops of your subject matter that will enhance rather than distract from the focal point of your image. Let's take a look at another photograph showcasing this technique. Take a look at this image of a praying mantis watching an Army recruit scale a confidence obstacle. Notice that sometimes less is more, because sometimes more is going to be too much. Using depth of field, you can see what's going on in the image, but you can see that the detail, the graining, the praying mantis is really giving subject matter and motion and movement because it looks like he's watching and wishing he could do that. Make sure to leave the white space needed or the negative space needed for your subject to move into for your viewer's eye to go. Now let's take a look at a photo that shows depth, adding depth to your images using composition, framing, as well as the rule of thirds. This bottle wall shows depth and gives the eye someplace to move as the content of the image clearly starts before the frame of the image and expands well beyond the viewer's eye. If you find symmetry and pattern in your backdrops, it creates eye-catching opposition elements. Both man-made and natural elements of texture can add interesting elements to the framing of your photograph. The world is filled with these natural and man-made objects. You just need to start training your eye to start looking for them. The rule of thirds, if you place your content in 1/3 and leave the other 2/3 to be a leading line or to be filled with something you're trying to show direction or content, it will honestly create a happy place for your viewer's eye to be transitioned to the subject matter and then freely flow to the other 2/3, creating a discord almost to start over here. I want to direct my eye to the subject matter. Now let's jump into framing. Framing techniques can include, if you're taking group photo, maybe let's say it's a family reunion gathering and you really want to find a beautiful place to take these photographs of this wonderful family. If you can find natural elements such as 2 trees, that is a frame. If you can find archways, that is a frame. If you can find repeating textures and elements, that is now a frame. Things that create a natural border around your subject matter, that's a great start for framing. Pay close attention to the way that you are cropping your image. If you crop your image too closely or you crop it too far out, you will actually distract the viewers from the actual content that you are trying to showcase in your image. So cropping can either enhance or distract from your subjects. So my last thought for you, fellow photographers, is to go out and shoot. Experiment with these techniques of composition and framing, perspective, rule of thirds, cropping. Train your eye to find these beautiful elements and really evolve your craft. You will start to notice some really spectacular things in nature, in architecture. Once you train your eye to start looking for them, you will begin evolving a tone of voice, a perspective that will identify you as that brand of photographer. So play with your angles, play with your perspectives, play with your depth of field. Find something that is unique to your style. So I hope this video was helpful. Until next time, I'm Jane Corley with PicVisions Media Arts and Photography. Make sure to like this video if you learned something new, subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell so you can be notified every time a new video is uploaded every week. Until then, see you later, guys.